Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at building better daily routines.
I think that's something that we all could use a little help with.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know I've been trying to get better at it myself.
Yeah,
We've actually had a ton of requests to cover this topic.
makes sense.
So we're going to be checking out this guide, Move Forward, Owning Your Daily Routine.
That's from Recovery College.
It is from Recovery College.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's got some really practical advice. I was just looking through it earlier, and I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, I think it's great, especially, like if you're just starting out and maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, I feel that way all the time. Like, where do you even begin?
Right.
So what I'm hoping to get out of this deep dive is, some concrete steps that we can start taking right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what this guide's all about. Just like small changes that can make a big difference.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of those tips, I was wondering if we could maybe talk a little bit about why routine matters in the first place. Like, what's the big deal?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think one of the things that the guide really emphasizes is that, without some kind of routine, it's easy to kind of just feel lost and demotivated.
Yeah, like you're just drifting through the day,
Exactly.
not really in control.
And I think that's where routine really comes in because it's about regaining that sense of control.
Right.
Even having just like a simple routine can provide that framework for your day.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just about, like, productivity. It's about mental well-being as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's setting yourself up for success in all areas of your life.
I love that.
And the cool thing is that the guide actually offers a ton of really practical tips that you can start using, right away.
Okay, well, let's get into those tips. So what's the first one that jumps out at you?
Well, they talk a lot about the importance of, setting an alarm and getting up at the same time every day.
See, that's where I struggle. That snooze button,
Yeah, it's so tempting.
especially in the winter.
Yeah, I get it. But this is where understanding like the science behind it can really help.
Okay.
The guide talks about circadian rhythms,
Oh, yeah,
our internal clock.
exactly.
Mhm.
So when you wake up at the same time every day, you're basically training your body to naturally feel more alert.
So it's like setting our internal alarm clock.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Even on the weekends, it's important. It helps to regulate your sleep-wake cycle, and that leads to better sleep quality and more energy throughout the day. It even impacts mental clarity.
Wow. See, I always thought it was just about getting enough sleep. I didn't realize it was about the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've got that consistent wake-up time. What comes next?
Well, once you've mastered that consistent wake-up time, the guide suggests establishing a morning routine. Okay, I love a good morning routine. I feel like it helps me feel more focused and prepared for the day. What kind of routine are we talking about here?
Well, nothing too complicated. The guide encourages you to keep it simple and enjoyable.
Okay.
So things like making your bed, having a cup of coffee or tea,
Right.
taking a shower, and getting dressed.
That all sounds very doable. And I'm really interested in exploring mindfulness techniques.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any room for that in this morning routine?
Totally. The guide actually suggests incorporating things like listening to music or, just like stepping outside for a bit to get some fresh air.
I love that.
Yeah, these activities can help set a really positive tone for the day.
And it kind of promotes that sense of mindfulness too, right?
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your time and finding those little moments of calm.
Yeah, instead of just rushing through the motions.
Exactly.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got the wake-up time, the morning routine. What else?
So another tip that really stood out to me was hydrate to motivate.
Well, that's a good one. I know I've experienced firsthand how much of a difference drinking enough water can make.
Incredible, right?
It really is.
How something so simple can have such a profound impact.
I used to be terrible at remembering to drink water throughout the day.
Mm.
But once I made it a priority, huge difference.
Yeah.
I was less sluggish, I felt more alert, and honestly, my productivity just skyrocketed.
It's like you're giving your brain the fuel it needs to function.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're staying hydrated. What's next?
Well, the next tip is move more.
Okay.
They recommend setting aside at least 20 minutes each day for some type of physical activity.
So it doesn't have to be like a crazy, intense workout.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
I mean, it could be something as simple as a brisk walk, a quick yoga session, even just like some gardening.
Yeah, I've been feeling really drained in the afternoons lately.
Mm.
Maybe I should try incorporating a walk into my routine.
I mean, it's definitely worth a try. Exercise has been shown to boost energy levels, improve focus, and reduce stress.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah, for both your physical and mental well-being.
Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern here. Consistent wake-up time, mindful morning routine, staying hydrated, getting some movement in. These are all simple but really impactful changes.
And they all work together to create this foundation for a more fulfilling day.
I'm loving this. Okay, so what about sleep? I know I function best when I've had a good night's sleep. What does the guide say about that?
Well, the guide actually has a whole section on sleep. The tip is make time to sleep.
Of course, of course.
And they really emphasize the importance of creating a calming pre-sleep routine.
Okay.
So things like avoiding screen time, intense exercise, and caffeine before bed.
Right, like winding down, signaling to our bodies that it's time to rest.
Exactly. And, you were talking about being interested in mindfulness techniques.
Yes.
Well, they actually suggest incorporating those into your bedtime routine as well.
Like meditation.
Yeah, exactly. Simple practices like focusing on your breath or doing a body scan can help calm your mind.
Nice. I've actually been experimenting with meditation lately,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm finding it really helpful
That's great.
for managing stress and for sleep.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the importance of a consistent wake-up time, establishing a mindful morning routine, staying hydrated, getting regular exercise, and creating that calming pre-sleep routine.
It seems like a lot, but even starting with one small change can make a big difference.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Mm.
What other practical tips does this guide offer?
Well, they dive into some strategies for staying social and managing our time effectively.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued by that.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely explore those further. But I think this is a good place to maybe take a quick pause.
Yeah, take a breather.
We can come back and dive into those other tips.
Sounds good.
But before we do, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our Mindset Mechanics YouTube channel for more tips and inspiration on building a healthier and more productive life. We'll be right back.
So we were talking about some of those foundational elements of a good routine, like sleep, movement, and hydration.
Those are so important. It's amazing how much of an impact those basic things can have on our overall well-being.
It's true. It's like setting the stage for a productive and fulfilling day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what comes next in this guide's list of tips?
Well, the guide then kind of shifts focus to something we often overlook, I think, when we're busy, building these routines.
Okay.
And that's social connection. The tip is stay social.
Yeah.
And it emphasizes the importance of connecting with friends and family.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's easy to get so caught up in our own routines and to-do lists that we forget to nurture those relationships.
Right.
The ones that bring us joy and support.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be these grand gestures either. Even a quick phone call or a text message can make a difference.
Totally. I've been trying to be more intentional about scheduling time for social interaction. Even if it's just, like a quick chat with a friend during my lunch break.
Yeah.
It really helps.
It's like a little mini recharge. Yeah.
For your emotional well-being.
I love that. Okay, so we're staying connected. We're nurturing those relationships. What's next?
So the next tip is all about finding focus. Take time to focus.
That's a good one. That's where I think things can get really tricky for me.
It's hard.
I'm all for dedicating time to focused work. But with so many distractions these days, it can be such a struggle.
Oh, I hear you. The guide suggests using tools like diaries or to-do lists to help stay organized and on track.
Yeah,
It's about, creating that structure within your day.
that makes sense. I also find that breaking down larger tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks can be really helpful.
Absolutely.
It makes the whole thing feel less daunting, and you can kind of celebrate those small wins along the way.
Right. And, you were mentioning earlier being interested in productivity hacks.
Yes.
Well, this guide's emphasis on time blocking really aligns with that.
Oh, yeah. Time blocking, where you're scheduling those dedicated blocks of time for specific tasks.
Right. I've heard about that. I can see how that would be really helpful, especially for people who work from home or have flexible schedules.
Absolutely. It helps create those boundaries between work time and personal time, which is crucial for maintaining focus and avoiding burnout.
Okay, so let's recap. We've talked about waking up consistently, building a mindful morning routine, staying hydrated, incorporating movement, nurturing social connections, and finding focus. It's really impressive how these seemingly small changes can create a more balanced and fulfilling routine.
It's all about creating a lifestyle that supports both your mental and physical well-being.
Oh.
And that leads to increased productivity and a greater sense of control over your day.
I'm really seeing the bigger picture here. It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about creating that foundation
Right.
for a happier and healthier life.
Exactly. And speaking of building that foundation, the guide's final tip is particularly interesting. Don't be afraid to change things up.
Oh, okay. That's a little unexpected. We've been talking about the importance of routine, and now we're being told to change things up.
It's not about constantly overhauling your entire routine, but it is about recognizing that our needs and circumstances change over time.
So finding that balance between consistency and flexibility.
Exactly. What worked for you a month ago might not be as effective today. It's about being adaptable
Yeah.
and willing to tweak things as you learn more about yourself and your needs.
This really resonates with me. I used to be super rigid with my routine,
Hmm.
but I've learned that it's okay to adjust things as needed. Life throws curveballs.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to adapt our routines to accommodate those changes.
And I think that's a really valuable insight. It's about taking ownership of our routines,
Right.
recognizing that they are tools to serve us, not to control us.
That's such a good point.
Mhm.
Routine should be empowering, not restrictive.
Mhm.
They should support our goals and help us live our best lives.
Absolutely. And remember, even small adjustments can have a big impact. The key is to pay attention to how you're feeling,
Hmm.
listen to your body,
Hmm.
make changes as needed.
So it's a constant process of refinement. Not striving for perfection, but for a routine that works for you in the present moment.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination. There will be days when you stick to your routine perfectly, and then there will be days when things go completely off track.
Of course.
And that's okay. The key is to be kind to yourself, learn from those experiences, and just keep refining your approach.
And such an important reminder. It's not about beating ourselves up when we fall short.
No.
It's about using those experiences as opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. Building a better routine is a process of self-discovery and experimentation. It's about finding what works best for you and your unique needs.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a much better understanding of how to approach building a routine that supports my mental health, boosts my productivity, and helps me just live a more fulfilling life.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what about those of us who are struggling to even visualize what that might look like?
That's a great question. And the guide actually offers a solution for that. They provide a sample daily routine.
Oh, wow. So we can actually see an example of how all these tips come together.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. I bet our listeners would love to hear about that. It could be a great jumping off point for those who are feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, especially if you're not sure where to begin.
Okay, I'm excited to dive into that example routine. But first, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
So we're back, and I'm really curious to see what this sample daily routine looks like.
Okay, so the routine kicks off with waking up between 7 and 8 a.m.
That makes sense. It's keeping that consistency.
Right. Then it emphasizes getting showered and dressed even if you're not leaving the house.
I've tried that, and it really does make a difference mentally.
Yeah, it kind of signals to your brain that it's time to shift into a more active mode. Then from 8 to 9 a.m., they suggest some form of exercise.
Okay.
It could be yoga, a brisk walk, anything to get your blood flowing.
So important to get that movement in, even if it's not a full-blown workout.
Exactly. And then, of course, breakfast from 9 to 10.
Fueling up, yeah. Then they allocate a good chunk of time from 10 to 11 a.m. for focused work.
I like that, getting that deep work in early in the day when you're most likely to be productive.
And then recognizing the importance of breaks, they suggest taking a break from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Breaks are so important.
Absolutely.
Got to give your mind a chance to rest.
And then lunchtime from 12 to 1 p.m.
Of course.
Back to work from 1 to 3 p.m.
Okay, so 2 solid blocks of focused work time with breaks and meals in between.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance, right?
And they even incorporate the stay social tip in there, suggesting time from 3 to 4 p.m. to connect with a friend or family member.
Exactly. Just a little reminder to prioritize those connections.
I love that.
Yeah.
Then from 4 to 5 p.m., they suggest some more physical activity, maybe like housework or gardening.
Get those chores done.
Right. It's like multitasking in a healthy way.
I like it. And then from 5 to 6:30 p.m., it's time to wind down and start thinking about dinner.
Transitioning from work mode to evening mode.
Exactly. Then dinner and some free time from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Time to relax and recharge.
Then as we move into the evening, the routine shifts to more calming activities. From 8:30 to 10 p.m., they suggest reading or maybe doing some mindfulness exercises.
Great ways to unwind before bed.
And finally, from 10:30 to 11:30 p.m., it's time for bed.
Sticking to that consistent sleep schedule. This routine is really well structured. It covers all the key areas we've been talking about.
It does, but remember, this is just an example, a starting point.
Right. The key is to customize it to fit your own life and preferences.
Exactly. You can adjust the time slots, the activities, even the order of things.
So find what works for you.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to change things up as needed.
It's all about being flexible.
Yeah.
This has been such a great deep dive. I feel like I have so many practical ideas to work with.
Yeah, me too.
So as we wrap up here, is there a final thought you want to leave our listeners with?
If you could change one thing about your routine to boost your energy and focus, what would it be?
That's a great question for everyone to consider. It could be something small, like waking up 15 minutes earlier, or taking a short walk in the afternoon, or maybe dedicating 30 minutes before bed to a calming activity.
Remember, building a better routine is a journey. Every small step counts.
And you're in control. You have the power to create a routine that truly supports you and helps you reach your goals.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into daily routines. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our Mindful Mechanics YouTube channel for more tips and strategies on creating a happier, healthier, and more productive life. See you next time.